I'm Alyssa Martin, and this is my biofuel project. I chose to do ethanol. So for a little bit of background information, ethanol is a biofuel made from plants. It's a colorless liquid. In the United States, around 94% of ethanol is produced from corn. So it can also be produced from wood chips or actually corn stalks. But around more than 98% of US gasoline contains ethanol. It's considered to be eco-friendly, and it was first used in 1826. So for biological source production, like I said before, most ethanol is made from starch-based crops such as corn, and corn is produced when corn kernels are placed in the ground. The corn stalks then grow and they are harvested. Corn is grown every year and harvested once a year. This is actually something I didn't know prior to doing my research, so I thought it was pretty cool little fact. So ethanol production. Corn goes through a process called dry milling. It's where the corn is ground into flour, and then it goes through fermentation to create the ethanol. So I have a little illustration here of that. So the corn is delivered and it's put into the grinder and then the cookers, and eventually it goes into fermentation, and then ethanol is created. So the developmental status of ethanol. So it's actually widely available today. Ethanol production actually fell during 2020 during the COVID pandemic, but the industry is steadily rising. It's not to where it was prior to 2020, but it is on a steady rate, and it's expected to rise even more within the next few years. So the impact on the carbon footprint. So ethanol is actually said to be better for the environment when compared to traditional gasoline, which is just gasoline by itself. According to a study by the Department of Energy's Oregon National Laboratory, corn ethanol has a 44% to 55% lower GGE than gasoline, which is just the greenhouse gas emission. And although it is better for the environment, it still has an impact on the carbon footprint, obviously. When 1 gallon of ethanol is combusted, it emits around 12.72 pounds of carbon dioxide. So the impact it has on the economy. Overall, ethanol has a positive impact on the economy. I have some stats here from around 2022. So more than 78,800 United States jobs were directly associated with the ethanol industry, and it also created about 34.8 billion in household income and contributed over 57 billion to the nation's gross domestic product, which is actually the second highest GDP contribution in history. And I think that's pretty wild. So drawbacks to the use of ethanol. Some say the increased amount of fertilizer and water used for the corn crops is as bad for the environment as the emission of carbon in gasoline. Some claim that ethanol production is taking land away from food crop production, causing a lack of food availability. And then lastly, it's pretty expensive to produce. So here I have a little illustration of food or fuel. It says 8 bushels of corn equals 21.6 gallons of ethanol fuel, or it's enough food to feed a person for a whole year. Wow. So what do I think about it? I think we can definitely find a way to reduce the amount of fertilization and pesticides in ethanol production. With that said, though, I don't believe there's any way to 100% reduce the negative impact of biofuels. But yeah. And then here's my citations. Thank you.